Outside of a select few, the Sun Belt's RPI stinks. It's the Locked On Sun Belt.
You are Locked On Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Belt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, your teams every day. As we wait for some of these games to end, we will go over the RPI. We had a full slate of, almost a complete full slate of Sun Belt games on a Tuesday night. Of course, Coastal Carolina got an amazing reaction from their free concessions, and it's pretty good. I know it's kind of limited, but popcorn, nachos, and hot dogs about covers it at a football game, and free soda. So that's a good bit. And obviously, other stuff is going to be available too. That's just that stuff won't be free. So again, it's a great idea. Let's see the execution. All right, that's the next step. All right, so we didn't know that the RPI was available until we looked at it yesterday, and then some people sent me the RPI of the Sun Belt. And we noticed that we saw Troy was in the top 20, and we're like, ooh, Troy could be looking towards a national seed. And then we were looking at, oh my goodness, Clemson was like fourth in the RPI, and I think they fell to sixth or something along those lines. This is from Warren Nolan. It's a little bit small, but this is Warren Nolan. So you see the team RPI, Coastal Carolina is sixth. And that seems to be mostly SEC teams. You got Clemson and UCLA in there, but the rest seems to be SEC teams. All right. Independence even number 2 for conference. But the Sun Belt is way down there at number 9. All right. That is not where the Sun Belt usually is. All right. The Sun Belt is usually 5th, actually. Last year they were 5th. They were behind. They were in front of the Big Ten last year. All right. So you probably had the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12. We probably had the Pac-12 last year. And then that was the last of the Pac-12, right? That was the last of the Pac-12. And then the Sun Belt. But I was going to say a couple of teams are hurting the Sun Belt. Like the Cajuns are at 77. They're usually higher than that. And JMU, and it's not just them. Oh, man. Where JMU is just killing the Sun Belt. They're like 181. And Warren Nolan does a great job, so you can look at it all. Even Southern Miss, their RPI is not great right now either. So Southern Miss may have a schedule. Got to look at that. Are they going to win 40 ball games? That's what the Cajuns scheduled for, because their RPI is 58. That's not looking great for a at-large berth sitting right now. Right now, you have 2 teams that are looking for at-large berths, and that's Coastal Carolina at 6 and Troy at 19. And obviously, Coastal Carolina is sitting pretty for a national berth. We'll see if that lasts. And Troy could work their way up there. That is a little bit more difficult, but certainly could get seeded. But other than that, Georgia Southern is 57th. And Southern Miss is 58. And those are the only teams left in the top 60. Everyone else is lower than that. Cajuns are 77. This is, can I rank them? Let me see if I can change the now. So this is not necessarily going to be in order, but Old Dominion, despite their record, apparently playing a tougher schedule, 101. South Alabama, disappointing, 118. Texas State, also disappointing, 127. Georgia State, maybe it's surprising, 152. But that's because their record is pretty good, but they haven't really played anybody. They're 0-4 against quad 1 teams. 0-4. Georgia Southern is 0-4 against quad 1 teams. App State 0-4 against quad 1 teams. James Madison 0-6 against quad 1 teams. Old Dominion's RPI is so high because they have 10 games against quad 1 teams, but they're 2-8. Cajuns 1-8 against quad 1 teams. I mean, they schedule tough. You got to win. You don't have to win all of them. You certainly have to win more. Excuse me. You got to win more than you lose. Last year, the Cajuns had to win the majority of them, and they did. This year, they are not. Arkansas State 240, ULM 214, Marshall 179. The Sun Belt RPI is flat out struggling. And we're just going to be basically playing each other. The Sun Belt is going to be basically playing each other. You do have the midweek ball games, and that helps out a little bit, but it's not a 3-game series. And you don't have Coastal playing Southern Miss. Does Coastal? I don't think Coastal plays the Cajuns. I don't think that's the case. And so there's not a whole lot of spots for this to, for the RPIs to improve. Here you go. Okay. This is why these series are so important. This is where it'll be very interesting because the Cajun schedule is getting easy. All right. We won't pay attention to road and home so much, but they're playing Texas State at home. They have a 5-game week. All right. They are struggling, although trying to hang on against Northwestern State. It's 9-7, bottom of the 8th. All right. Deggs has been thrown out. There's been some umpiring controversy where apparently a home run hit the fair pole. What my father would call the fair pole, but it was called foul. Deggs was thrown out of the ball game. Matt Deggs, the Cajuns head coach, because the Northwestern State player lifted his knee into the pitch and Deggs got thrown out. They reviewed the play. They had to overturn it, apparently. Crazy stuff. So the Cajuns are trying to hang on. We'll get all of that. But the Cajuns are playing Texas State. You got to take 2 out of 3. Then they're playing ULM. That's in Monroe. Got to take 2 out of 3. You're playing Old Dominion. That's in Norfolk. You got to take 2 out of 3. You do play Georgia Southern at home. So I'm going to say 2 out of 3 against that. You're playing Georgia State. That's in Atlanta. All right. So maybe you lose 2 out of 3 there. And then you're playing Southern Miss at Southern Miss. Maybe 2 out of 3 there. You're going to lose. And then Arkansas State at home. They do not have a very tough schedule for the rest of the way. But, they're going to lose somewhere in that 15 to 20. Well, they've already lost 15 ball games. So they're going to lose somewhere in that 20 to, 25 ball games. Hopefully it's not 25 ball games. No, because 25 ball games would be 35. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be very good. No, that wouldn't be very good. All right. Anyways, the Sun Belt RPI stinks. We'll see how it affects everybody going forward. But we're just at first glance at it, it does not look good. All right. Southern Miss, who is winning, by the way, and we're going to get into the scores here momentarily, needs that RPI to improve exponentially. As a guy who roots for the Sun Belt, you don't want to need to kind of be in the top 30 from that large berth. You don't want to be around the mid-30s, and you certainly don't want to be in the high 30s, low 40s for a Sun Belt team to get the at-large berth, because the SEC team in the same spot is going to get it, or the ACC team is going to get it. It's not fair. It's not right. It is the way that it is. Okay. Let's take a time out. Let's check out the full slate. of ball games. Some of these games, I don't know if it was weather or the time was wrong on the schedule. Seemed that some of these games should have started much earlier than they did, but it is what it is. I tried to wait some of out before we started recording the benefits of having the day off on Wednesday. Today, as the case may be. We'll do that after I tell you about Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SHS-H-5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt. Your teams every day, as we mentioned, 13. Well, we didn't mention it, but almost a full slate. 13 out of the 14 teams in the Sunbelt playing on a Tuesday night. The only team not playing is Troy. And for whatever reason, they're playing on noon on April 2nd. All right, go figure. Something's going on in Troy. Noon on April 2nd. Like one of those games that was supposed to start a little bit early, but maybe not. Southern Miss is in control at home against Tulane. It appears they're going to win this ball game 13-6. The Southern Miss Bats came to play. 8 runs in the first inning. That'll do the trick. 8 runs in the first inning for the Golden Eagles. They're in control of this ball game against Tulane in the 9th inning, 13-6. So that will do the trick. All right. We do have one final that was from earlier today that did well. See, this is not a final. See, I thought this game was supposed to start much earlier. And it was a ball game when I started recording. It is now not a ball game. Clemson, number 6 rated Tigers on top of Georgia Southern, 10-4. Clemson added 4 runs in the 8th inning to blow it open. It was a 6-4 ball game. Clemson got on top 3-0. Georgia Southern made it 3-2 with 2 in the 4th. Clemson made it 6-2 in the 6th with 3 runs, but Georgia Southern closed the gap with 2 more in the 6th, making it 6-4, but Clemson blows it open with the 4 runs in the 8th, and now it's 10-4, bottom half of the 9th inning. Clemson closing this game out against Georgia Southern. All right. James Madison with a run in the 9th inning beats George Mason 6-5. This ball game kind of back and forth all game long. George Mason 2 in the first, JMU 3 in the first, JMU 1 in the 4th, George Mason 1 in the 5th, JMU 1 in the 7th, George Mason 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, and JMU scores 1 in the 9th to win it 6-5. All right, and again, everybody in the Sun Belt has to root for those out-of-conference wins in a big way because they just kill you. It is just going to be bad because that's going to hurt the RPIs. I mean, as of right now, you only have 2 at-large berths as of right now. So that's when you are actually rooting for Southern Miss to win the tournament because Coastal and Troy are going to get in anyway. All right, let's see who else we got. Georgia State did kind of let this one slip away. They scored 3 in the first, and Kennesaw State scores 2 in the 7th and 1 in the 8th to beat Georgia State 6-5. That one's going to hurt the Panthers a little bit. So that game is final. And let's see where else we are here. standings wise. I guess that would be, we could, schedule wise, anyways. Let's see. App State did lose to Western Carolina. See, that's one of those games that you can't really lose, right? Western Carolina coming into the action is 13 and 14. And, App State found themselves down 5-0, in the first 3 innings, 3 in the first and 2 in the third. And then App State actually scores 5 in the 8th inning, just to make it a respectable ball game, 14-10. That would be something like the late great Tony Robichaux would say, it's a wasted push, because you didn't keep it close, because you got your push. And if it was close, say, what they say, they had 5 runs, say it was 7-5 or 8-5. Now your 5 runs means something. Now your 5 runs doesn't mean anything, because you still lost 14-10. So you didn't keep it close. That's a bad loss for the Sun Belt, losing to Western Carolina. That loss hurts everybody else. All right, let's see what else. See if we we need to go another couple of minutes before we get to the Cajuns. Let's see where we are here, schedule-wise. Anyways, we did George Mason and James Madison. Marshall gets a win over Western Kentucky. All right, 2-1 ball game. Don't see that very often in college baseball. And this was how about a tidy 3-hour 2-1 game in 10 innings? All right. And so this is a ball game. You would say this is, again, people claim it's not that big of a deal. It's a midweek ball game. It doesn't mean anything. All right. Eastern Kentucky is 4-25. Where do we think they are? Like that hurts the Sun Belt, just playing Eastern Kentucky. I'm going to start at the bottom of the Warren Nolan list and work my way up to find Eastern Kentucky. Delaware State is last at 307. I don't know where Eastern Kentucky, don't have to go that far up. Eastern Kentucky is 295. All right. So that's not going to help Marshall that they beat them anyways. It would have crushed them if they lost, and it hurts everybody else. It is enormous that they won. All right. That win, it's actually the opposite. That loss would have been much bigger than the win is. Does that make sense? That Marshall pulls out that win is so much bigger because the loss would have been devastating to the Sun Belt. You can't lose. It's baseball, I know. It's a one-off. They aren't anymore. You can't be losing to a team that coming into the game is 4-24. All right. That is not going to help anybody out. All right. So this is as good a time as any to take a break. We'll check out that Cajuns ball game, see if they've put the finishing touches on Northwestern State. And we will wrap up the scoreboard, and we can start to look ahead. Well, there's only 3 games on Wednesday. Do have the day off Wednesday, traveling Thursday. We'll have to figure out how we're going to do a Thursday episode. Friday, we got maybe do an episode on Saturday, traveling Saturday, but not until middle of the day. So anyways, let's take a timeout. I kind of went off on a tangent there, my own little itinerary. Let me tell you a little bit about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, and bourbon, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on the food delivery and my adult beverages. Now I budget smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On College, your teams every day. I will apologize in advance. I'm going to harp on the RPI for the next 2 months. Harp on it. All right. It will not end for 2 months, basically, or 7 weeks. That's what's going to be till the middle of May. All right. You got maybe 7-8 weeks. What do we got here? We got 4 weeks here in April, and then it ends. You got 1, 2, 3 weeks in May. So 7 weeks. I'm going to harp on that RPI. All right. So that's why it seems like it's not a big deal, but Marshall scoring 1 in the 10th inning to beat Eastern Kentucky helps a lot of teams out. All right. If you're playing Marshall, it certainly does. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. We can go to, well, let's see. If we go to the RPI, Marshall was sitting at 179. Let's see if they've moved up or down. I don't know if that's based on the week or the day, but it says they went down 6. I mean, that could be the day. Well, it's certainly it's one of the both. It could be both, right? Because they played Eastern Kentucky, who is, one of the top 10 worst teams in the country, ish. Could you imagine if they lost? Oh, the bottom would have fell out. There was a ball game earlier this year. Let's switch over to the Cajuns. That the Cajuns came away with a win. Let me see who that one was. Texas Southern. We kind of thought that was a ball game that may have turned the season around. That was only the 4th ball game of the year. Let's see where Texas Southern is right now, because I'm not sure they're that good, but we're moving up more than I thought. We're in the 250s. Now we're in the 230s. ULM's 216. Texas Southern is 213. No, better than I thought. All right. Eastern Kentucky was 295. All right. So let's see what the Cajuns have done. Cajuns hold off Northwestern State 9-7. Cajuns got off to a 5-0 start, 3 in the first, 2 in the second. But then Northwestern State started to battle back, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Cajuns put 2 more on the board in the 5th, and Northwestern State put 2 more on the board in the 8th, but really never, got back. I mean, they closed the gap, but never tied the ball game up. I will say they left 11 men on base, so they certainly had an opportunity. They had plenty of opportunities. They had 13 base hits and left 11 men on base. But all of a sudden, the Cajuns have won a few in a row, as it turns out. They've won 4 in a row. They took 2 out of 3 from South Alabama. They did lose to LSU. That's where the streak sort of starts. Maybe they won that Sunday ball game. They won a Sunday ball game against Troy, 18-14, but they lost to Southeastern after that. Took 2 out of 3 from South Alabama. Lost to LSU. They swept JMU. I don't know if you can sweep Texas State, but you got to take 2 out of 3. I sit here and say that. It's kind of tough. Again, it's tough to go into a series thinking you're going to sweep. I said that with JMU because JMU is not very good. Texas State's, JMU is, they got about the same record. JMU is 10-19. Texas State is 12-15. You might as well say it. See if the Cajuns can sweep Texas State. It's not that big of a difference between the two, between their records. And let's see what else we have here game-wise on this night. Coastal took care of Campbell in 7 innings, 15-1. See what Arkansas State did against Central Arkansas. Stats coming up as we're trying to get things straightened out. And see, this is a loss. That's a 3-2 loss. Central Arkansas beats Arkansas State. Good ball game, 2 in the third for Central Arkansas. ASU came back with 1 in the third, but Central 1 in the 4th. Arkansas State with 1 in the 7th, and that was it. Arkansas State left 10 men on base. Let's see if they did anything in the 8th or in the 9th, or see what happened in the 7th inning. Let's see what happened in the 7th inning. They actually had 2 on, and oh goodness. All right, so they had 2 on and had an RBI single, making it a 3-2 ball game. And they have runners on at first and second. They had an infield base hit, and they tried to score from second base, and he got thrown out. I got to see the play. I'm a big believer without seeing it. I'm a big believer in making the defense make a play. That may be pushing it, though. So it says on the play-by-play base hit to second. So I'm presuming someone made a diving play to smother the ball, but that's getting up and throwing it home. I mean, if you're out by 10 feet, that's pushing it, right? You could have had bases loaded. I know there's 2 outs and you're down by 1, but now you can tie the ball game up with a wild pitch, a pass ball, a batsman. All of a sudden, the pressure's on them. And that's just in the 7th inning. So let's see. So like I said, I'm going to harp on this. Let's see where Central Arkansas is. Where do we think Central Arkansas is? Because that's a game I would think that is going to not help the Sun Belt. I could be wrong. In fact, I hope I'm wrong, because Arkansas State has dropped to 246. Central Arkansas is 261. No, that's not great, Bob. Not great at all. Okay. Did Southern Miss? Let's see if ULM and Stephen F. Austin is done. See where this is going. Again, it's nice to have a full slate on a Tuesday. That's pretty good. ULM doubles up. Stephen F. Austin 8-4. So that's a nice win for the Warhawks. Texas State against Texas. By the way, I saw A&M's record. They're 13-14. A&M's record is 13-14. Yeesh. Oh boy. Look at this one. We may have to put this one on. Texas State is leading Texas, the number 5th ranked Longhorns, 5-3, bottom half of the 9th, 1 out, bases loaded. Texas already has 1 run in. Texas State scored 4 runs in the 8th to take the lead. It was a 2-1 ball game. When this happened. Now I'm trying to figure out what is, let me see, where's the game status here? When we have a pop-up to right, probably should be doing play-by-play, but there's 2 outs and the bases are loaded, and Texas State is leading by 2. So the tying run is on second. What I like to call the go-home run is on first. All right. Now we'll see if we're here while this is going on. We only got South Alabama and Southeastern, so that game's got to end here quickly. All right. And this season has just not gone right for Mark Calvey in South Alabama. Got a whole new field, whole new turf field, and Southeastern, who I think swept the Cajuns, are beating South Alabama 8-6. And it has been a wild 9th inning. 3 runs for Southeastern, 2 for South Alabama. They're still hitting. 1 out, nobody on. South took a 2-0 lead, but Southeastern came right back, scored 5 in the second. South scored 1 in the second, making it 5-3. And I mean, goodness gracious. South scores 1 in the 8th to make it a 5-4 ball game. So now you're going to the 9th. It's 5-4, and you give up a 3 spot in the 9th. I mean, they still have a shot, but there's the tying run is on deck, but there's nobody on base. Getting back to the Texas ball game. Let's see where we can find that. When did we do that? Did I lose that one? That's amazing. Texas State and Texas 5-3 ball game. Bottom half of the ninth, bases loaded. We already had didn't Coastal take down Clemson, I think? And here it is. Texas State takes down Texas. There it is. Texas State beats the Texas Longhorns 5-3. Huge. So I think those are two huge wins we've had in the Sun Belt this year. I think it was Coastal, right? Didn't they take down Clemson? Was it Coastal Carolina? That took down the Clemson Tigers, and now we have another. Certainly going to help. Talk about helping out the RPI. That's going to help out. That's why it's going to be tough to sweep the Texas State Bobcats. 2 out of 3. Yes. Coastal beat Clemson just last week, March 25th. So at least I remember that one. So that's a big win for Texas State. Good for them. They're going to be coming in to the Teague with a little bit of momentum. Certainly going to feel that one. That is huge. All right. Glad we got that one in. All right. We waited to record and basically saved the best for last. All right. Thank you so much. We will we'll do one more episode here from the home studio, and then we'll really be at the home studio with Mama Schultz here for Thursday and Friday. And we'll be just up there for a couple of days. All right. Just going home for a couple of days, going to take care of a few things, have a little fun, get away. And then we're all set. And, we're basically a month away from, it's like 4 weeks away from the Derby, and we're going to be busy at work. So we're looking forward to that. All right. Thanks for tuning in. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. And we'll talk to you again on Thursday.